Hello and good morning. My name is Waldo, and you found me. I'm right here, streaming on Kick, streaming on YouTube, reading the latest politics news and feeling it with you. Because that's what politics is, right? Feelings. Everything is political, everywhere, all the time, all the things, everything. How's everybody doing? Um, Thanks for being here, taking a look. Flying solo today, no Thomas. And so if you have a political story that you'd like me to look at, link it in chat. Very fun. Shinsento's feeling the politics already. Thank you for feeling those politics. I appreciate it. Uh, Going to look at some of the headlines today, and then towards the end of the stream, we're going to look at the Conservative Core games list. Did you guys see this? Uh, it is, I think, entirely insane. But we'll look at it and determine how insane, and come to a couple of ideas on why it's insane. Uh, so Uh, what? You haven't seen the Conservative Core games list? I'll show it to you, and you can be shocked in a little bit, and you can have all the confused feelings that I had, because again, it's feelings. Again, politics is mostly feelings. And if you're in chat, throw in some emotes because they fly around the screen and are silly. I'll try and bite them. Then feel free to gamble and figure out how many points you have and all that fun stuff. And with that, we can get started on the headlines. Is it like Secret Hitler but played backwards? Not quite. It's just a bad media literacy take. Um, Spoiler for the end of the stream: conservatives don't comprehend media or media interpretation. They're bad at it. Go here and we'll start up our headlines. Time for headlines. Bam. Good old Hunter Biden. There he is. You know him. You love him. He's a cool guy. So what have we got? A conservative appeals court just ruled against the federal gun law used to charge Hunter Biden. So he had a gun while being addicted to a controlled substance. Sometimes that's illegal. Some people don't want it to be illegal. The federal gun law used to indict Hunter Biden has a surprising critic, a conservative-led federal appeals court. They're against the law itself. The panel ruled that the law was unconstitutional in another case, but legal experts say it could come up in Hunter Biden's case. The president's son was indicted on a 3 gun related charges on Thursday after his original plea deal fell apart. Oh, we do need a shocked Pikachu face emoji. Shinseto, you're right. I will get to work on that. Writing that down. So we can work on that. Let's see. I'm going to move my OBS window over here so I can see it. There it is. Brilliant. And we're back. Mississippi man who was sentenced to prison for possessing a firearm while being a marijuana user. The law in question prohibits anyone who is an unlawful user or an addicted to a controlled substance from owning a firearm, but the appeals court panel ruled that it was too broad when it was used in Daniel's case and tossed out his conviction. So, this Daniels guy is under the indictment for the same thing, and then the court said, nah, that's unconstitutional. So it should carry over to Hunter Biden, but conservatives don't like Hunter Biden, so they also need to be mean to him, but bend the law. It's very complicated. Being a conservative is very difficult, very complex, because you want to do the law, but you also want to hurt liberals as much as you can. And then it goes back and forth. It's very difficult. It's not an easy life to lead, I suspect. So I think this is from the judges. Our history and tradition may support some limits on an intoxicated person's right to carry a weapon, but it does not justify disarming a sober citizen based exclusively on his past drug usage. So that's from the court. Nor do more generalized traditions of disarming dangerous persons support this restriction on nonviolent drug users. So, uh, according to this judge, Hunter Biden owning that gun was not a crime, and preventing him from having that is a uh, infringement on his Second Amendment. I don't mind either way, honestly. I recognize that there are uh, Second Amendment supporters who will say, who will agree that you shouldn't have your Second Amendment infringed by previously having drug use. And then there will be liberals on the left who will be like, hey, you've got a couple of strikes on you. You cannot have any guns anymore. I'm okay with the state sorting this one out, honestly. No big deal here, but I would, and if it comes out that the Republicans and conservatives are all for throwing by Hunter in jail for this, but also suggesting that other people shouldn't be thrown in jail for it, it's just more conservative hypocrisy that I'll try and point out if and when it happens. Not entirely sure if that's going to happen at this point, because that is a conservative hypocrisy that is about to come out, where they're eyeballing this one. They're like, hey, we hate this Hunter Biden guy, and we got him doing a thing, but we think the thing shouldn't be illegal. What do we do? They're having a hard time pretzeling their way around this one. Sticking to the Joe Biden idea, what's ahead now that Republicans are opening an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden? Oh my God. They've opened the impeachment inquiry. Oh my God. It's so important. Uh, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is launching an impeachment inquiry, uh, yielding to mounting pressure from President Donald Trump. See, that's the thing. Trump is telling who isn't elected at the moment, but he is the head of the Republican Party, whether they like it or not. Uh, and he is telling McCarthy what to do. In a statement Tuesday, McCarthy said that the House investigations into the Biden family this year have uncovered a culture of corruption that demands deeper review. These are allegations of abuse of power, obstruction, and corruption, McCarthy said. Um, House Republicans have been investigating the president for 9 months, and they've turned up no evidence of wrongdoing. I think that's an important thing to say. I think this one says it as well. What evidence do they have? House Republicans, led by James Comer, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, have obtained thousands of pages of financial records from various members of the Biden family and their associates through subpoenas to the Treasury Department. Comer has repeatedly claimed, without substantial evidence, that's an important part right there, I should highlight only that, without evidence, that there is enough in these documents to draw a clear line between Hunter Biden trading for his father's name and policy decisions Biden made while vice president. No such connection has been proven. They don't need the evidence, they've got their feelings. Uh, the breakdown happens after two IRS agents claimed in congressional testimony that the Justice Department improperly interfered with the case, which was first opened in 2018 when Donald Trump was president. So they've been investigating him constantly since then. Since, as soon as Trump got in charge, he weaponized all the departments and used them to harm his political opponents, which they're apparently against, but also do all the time. Uh, Merrick Garland, who is an actual decent person, appointed the prosecutor investigating Hunter Biden as a special counsel, so that we could actually find out what's happening. If Merrick Garland and Joe Biden were as crooked as Trump claims that they are, they wouldn't have done this. If Hunter Biden were as crooked as the Republicans say he is, they wouldn't have made the special counsel. They wouldn't. They have the ability to not do so, but they did it because they are more honest, more accepting of fact finding and fact appreciation. than the Republicans are. Mm, how long will the inquiry take? There are no rules. Probably could last Biden as short as a few months or as long as a year. They're going to drag this out forever. They don't actually have a platform to stand on, these Republicans. All they have is, we hate the other side and look at these terrible things the other side is doing. So they're going to drag out this investigation for as long as possible into the election season. They're going to just point at it and vaguely suggest that Biden's under investigation for corruption. There's no evidence. There's no uh, proof. They're not going to end up impeaching him. They're not even going to. This inquiry will end with no evidence, but it won't matter because while it's going on, they can point at him and say, "You're under investigation for corruption," even though there's no evidence and we shouldn't have done the investigation. It's what they claim that the Democrats do all the time because they're dumb. Uh, they say, "Oh, well, the Democrats are doing it. The Democrats are doing it." Well, the Democrats investigate Donald Trump because he is actually a criminal. He breaks the law. You see, there's a difference. And we've got this guy, fictitious facts and imagined history. This is what I'm talking about. Ken Buck slams Biden impeachment effort. Ken Buck, a Republican, says that it's fictitious facts and imagined history. Man, that could be the tagline for the entire Republican Party. Man, fictitious facts and imagined history. I'm going to write that down. Fictitious facts and imagined history. This is a very good description of the Republican Party of today. This is all they have: fictitious facts and imagined history. He complains about Trump's indictment, which was actually warranted, but he's not allowed to say that. I want to. This is a Republican GOP member speaking. I want to make sure we don't ruin this institution over a tit-for-tat impeachment. If the evidence is there, I will absolutely vote for impeachment. I don't see the evidence at this point. So it doesn't exist. There is no evidence. We're going to investigate until we find something. That's how we got the Hunter Biden gun thing. They were investigating. They found a thing, and then they latch onto it and never let go. That's what politics is now. It's not an idea of what you should do. It's not guidelines or principles. It's not plans for the future. It's simply, I have feelings. Your team hurt my feelings. My team will now hurt your feelings. Mm. Moving on to Trump news. Trump mocked for saying impaired Joe Biden is leading us into World War II. Now this is funny. Uh, let's see. Here he goes. Mr. Trump said, "We have a man who is totally corrupt and the worst president in the history of the country, who is cognitively impaired, in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and post-nuclear war. Just think of it. We would be in World War II very quickly." Joe Biden's too dumb. He's going to lead us into World War II. Uh, this is good stuff. Oh, he's too dumb. He's going to lead us right into World War II. Uh, we won World War II. Maybe it's not a bad idea. I don't want to go into World War II, but damn nation, we won. Uh, let's see if we can watch it.
Now, crooked Joe Biden and the radical left have weaponized law enforcement to arrest their leading political opponent, and leading by a lot, including Obama. I'll tell you what, you take a look at Obama and take a look at some of the things that he's done. This is the same thing. The country was very divided. And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won. We beat Hillary Clinton. Now, you know, I used to call her Crooked Hillary. $1 million to a writer of fiction about Donald Trump to lie and say it was fact, where Hunter Biden's laptop from hell was Russian disinformation and the FBI knew it wasn't, but 51 intelligence agents said it was, and they knew it wasn't also, and a Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting, irregularities, and fraud. And we have a man who is totally corrupt and the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired, in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and possible nuclear war. Just think of it. We would be in World War II very quickly if we're going to be relying on this man, and far more devastating than any war. There will never be a war. If that happens, there will never be a war like this. It will obliterate everything there is, everybody. It will obliterate every country.
Everybody. Oh
We
no.
are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get, and they are the true enemy of the people. They
Just
crooked Joe
points at them.
Biden and the
Oh, he just points back at the press that's in there. Yeah. Oh, I think you're right. Maybe he did just reveal some state secrets. The fact that we have time machines so you can take us back into World War II. You see, folks, the Biden uh, syndicate is going to use the time machines to fight Russia in World War II. They're going backward. Trump's trying to save us. He doesn't want to adjust World War II. Biden's going to go backward and make America lose World War II because he hates America. You see. Yeah, so that's pretty fun. Um, he's just dumb. He's very bad. He's just rambling all day long. That was at the pray, stand, vote thing. It's very strange. I don't entirely know what he's doing. And he's in charge of the Republican Party. That's what he's in charge of it. There's two parties in the country. One is a mediocre uh, liberals, and the other is Donald Trump. That's it. That's all we get. Those are your two choices. There is no third choice in this country, and I think that's a bad thing. What else we got? Ooh, here we go. Donald Trump is siding with the auto bosses against workers because he's not actually a populist. He's a fake populist. He pretends to be a populist, but isn't. He attacked the auto workers and mischaracterizing the stakes of the union's contract campaign and strike. Self-styled populist, Donald Trump is standing with the corporate elite against workers. Of course he is. He's a capitalist. He loves them. I think there was. Here's Trump. I'm telling you, you shouldn't pay those dues because they're selling you to hell. Don't listen to these union people who get paid a lot of money. They get wined and dined in Washington. They know what that electric cars are no good in terms of our workers. How does that make any sense? That doesn't make sense. He ended the campaign mode by promising, when I am president, I will deliver higher wages for auto workers. I will protect your jobs. How does the government do that, Mr. Trump? How does the government get higher wages for auto workers? The only thing the government could do is pass a law. That law would be challenged by the automotive industry CEOs. And then they would sue. And they would take it to court, and then a conservative court would side in favor of the CEOs and not the workers. He's talking out both sides of his mouth. He says, don't join the union, but when I'm in charge of the government, I will force the government to force these high-paid CEOs to give you more money. But that's what the unions are doing. The unions are tiny little governments. I've said this before. Um, Unions are tiny little governments. They have they have people that they have union members like a constituency. Those union members pay dues, which are taxes. Those dues are used to are sent to a treasurer who is elected, and then they elect a president, and then that president leads forward plans to make the constituents' lives better. Unions are a tiny little government. You might be right, Shinsinto, when they pass a law, pat themselves on the back, and then strike it down and blame the Dems. Yeah, very well could be. But Donald Trump is on the side of the CEOs and against the workers, as usual, and as he will always be. He always will be. Here's Bernie on the exact opposite side of Donald Trump. Imagine that. Bernie Sanders says UAW workers striking against corporate greed. I applaud them. All Americans should be standing behind auto workers, not the CEOs. And those workers are members of a union who pay dues. Donald, listen. The American people are sick and tired of. Oh, I can do my Bernie voice. The American people are sick and tired of corporate greed in which the very richest people are becoming richer. The benefit should go to the workers, said Bernie Sanders. You know, the opposite. Because Bernie Sanders is an actual populist. You understand? Populism is a thing, it's a political position. Bernie Sanders is one. Donald Trump pretends to be one to get votes from dumb people. The Populism is a range of political stances that emphasize the idea of the people and often juxtapose this group against the elite. It is frequently associated with anti-establishment, anti-political sentiment. The term, developed in the 19th century, has been applied to various politicians, parties, and movements since that time, often as a pejorative. Yeah. A common framework for interpreting populism is known as ideational approach. This defines populism as an ideology that presents the people as morally good force and contrasts them against the elite, who are portrayed as corporate and self-serving. Now, when Bernie does that, he is saying the millionaires and the billionaires have to pay their fair share. That's what he's saying. That fair share goes from those political elites through taxes to the government. The government then supplies benefits, help, and healthcare, honestly, to the people. And the people work for the companies to make the companies richer. Those rich people, the companies, then give back to the government. The government comes back down. It's working. It is a system. You know, it's an economy. It's circular, which is good. That's great. Donald Trump, on the other hand, suggests that he pretends that he's against the elite, yet he is one. He always has been one of them, and he will always be one of them, and he takes their side all the time. Donald Trump takes the elite side while saying into a camera that he's for the people. He did it in that last story. Oh, when I'm president, I will raise your wages. He won't. He never will. And if there was a bill put in front of President Donald Trump that raises people's wages but hurts the investor class, he will not sign it, and they will shoot it down immediately. Because that is the problem. The investor class is the problem we're having with capitalism right now. I am a market socialist, and I have always said so, but there is a problem. There is a flaw within capitalism, and the biggest one is the investor class. The investors are the problem. Because what they do is if something is good for the workers, good for the consumers, but drives the stock price down, it won't be done. Imagine that. Imagine that for a minute. There's a choice. I think we all look at EA and the Unity thing. Uh, if there's a choice that a company can make that is good for the consumers, good for the workers, but drives the stock price down, it won't be done. It will not be done. If there is a choice for that's bad for the workers, bad for the consumers, but drives the stock price up, that'll get done. That will get done. You're right. Regardless of who's president, these things are true. I think you're right. Uh, so Why would a company choose the thing that is good for investors, but or why would a company choose things that are bad for its workers and bad for its customers? Because the investors make money from it. The investors are the parasites. The investors are the problem with our capitalist system. We could have a better capitalism if it didn't have quite so much authority with the investors. Um, I don't entirely comprehend how we could set up a better system like that because I think once the investor class exists, I mean, as soon as there's one of them, they will multiply. You know, as soon as there's one person who puts some stuff in, some money in by buying stock into a company and then driving them in a certain direction that makes him more money, but it disregards the workers and the consumers and the public at large or the environment, there will be two or three or four or five of those people. Then they will multiply, and everyone will see how good that kind of a job would be. Not that it's a job; it's more of a political stance. But uh, that is my biggest complaint and gripe with uh, capitalism: is that the investors run the entire economy. It's happening with Unity right now, right? That Unity choice. Uh, who's the CEO of Unity that used to be at EA? What's his name? Let's look him up real quick. John Riccitiello. John Riccitiello. He was in charge of EA, which was voted by people as the most evil company ever and the worst video game company. EA had a very, they were notorious for being money hungry and bad for the consumer. That makes us dislike him because we're consumers, we're game players, we love it. It makes the consumers hate him. It makes the uh, workers hate him. It makes the artists hate him. It makes the investors love him. Investors love that guy because he will squeeze every single dime out of every single person he can and maximize their profit so that they can jump in, maximize their profit with John Riccitello, then jump out with massive profits. They do not care if the company goes down. They do not care if Unity fails. They do not care if EA crashes and burns as long as they get out beforehand. Investors are pirates. Investors are pirates. They see something good moving, or they see a nice fat boat moving along, doing what it's supposed to be doing, delivering goods and services to people who want them. They take what they can, they burn it down, and they leave. And that is why I don't want, that's why I push against capitalism so hard. It has a flaw, and that flaw is investors. All right, so um, let's see, what are we going to do? KVP says, screw the consumer, I want my piece of the pie. That's right, that's exactly right. They're, they don't care if the company is around a year from now. They don't care. An investor does not need the company to be long term. The investor doesn't need uh, a 10-year plan for this company to increase its uh, value every year. They need to get in, they need to get what they can, they need to sack the place, they need to get the hell out. If you're just joining us, you can see KBP over here gambling his life away. It's very cool. And he lost 50 points. Poor guy. But he's going to keep trying because it's super fun and everybody loves it. Uh, Going to be kind of a short stream today because I have a cold. I don't know if you can tell my voice, but I am not feeling good. Uh, School started, which means the terrorist who isn't here at the moment, the little terrorist that lives at my house, went to school, spoke to other little terrorists, and got a cold, and then brought it to me and brought it to everybody in the house. So I am running a little bit sick today. Uh, I don't know if you can tell in the voice or anything like that, but it is. I have a sore throat. It's very hard. I'm trying not to sneeze and cough all in your ears, but I can only hold that back for so long. So, uh, the other important thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today is this right here. Look at this. What is this? This is the essential Conservitive Core video games. I've This came out about a week ago, and I've been back and forth on whether or not it's a joke or it's serious, but I think it's serious. Um, KPP, you'd like to invest your points into the stream? Well, you can't. We do not accept you in investing points. You have to continue working. Every single time you post, you get another 5 points. Every time you chat, you get another 5 points. So you've got to do the work. You cannot be an investor. Sorry. So yeah, I went back and forth on this. I thought this was some sort of a joke. I thought this was an ironic LARP. Somebody was just like, look, we'll pretend to be conservatives and put up all these games that aren't conservative. And then I started investigating the person, and there's this Ducky person. Ducky, if this isn't a joke, you're a lunatic. If this is a joke, you got me. You totally boratted me. Um, but I have seen people start investigating and looking at this guy's other posts. I don't think this is a joke. Here's the list of the Conservative Core games, mostly chosen by you guys. Leave your thoughts below. So they've come up with video games that push a conservative message. Now, guess what? They're dumb. Most of these don't. We've got a list of video games here. We're gonna go down this list of which ones do contain a conservative message, which ones don't, and why. And I'm saving Persona 4 for last. Uh, how would he know? There are conservatives in Britain. Britain has a left and a right and a conservative and a liberal party. Yes, he's British, but uh, he's a crazy person. Okay, here we go. Starting right off the bat with what is that? Toho Project? I don't know what that is. Never heard of it. Maybe you know it. I don't. So we're going to skip that one. We're going to mark that. I'm keeping a tally down here. That's an unknown for me because I just don't know what that first one is. It's like a witch. I don't know. Toho something. Okay, he's a crazy person. How would he know? He doesn't know, and we're pointing out that he is crazy. But this was chosen by other friends of his, and we're gonna check each game. We're gonna go down the list. Dark Tide. Dark Tide is a Warhammer 40k game. Warhammer 40k games can go either way. I didn't play Dark Tide, but the Warhammer games are either one of two things. One, an artist who is satirizing fascism, or an artist who loves fascism and doesn't get that the other guys are satirizing it. It's a uh, Starship Troopers situation where half of us are like, ha, look at all the stupid fascists, and the others are like, ha, whoa, dude, look at all these super cool fascists. Um, Dark Tide, I don't know which side it falls on, so that could go either way, honestly. Doom, honestly, I would say Doom, yeah, is conservative, yes. So I'm marking Doom as a yes. Aliens invading, shoot them. Bam, that's it. Uh, Zelda. Now, this one might get me in some hot water, but I'm marking Zelda as yes. That is a conservative game. Actually, Ocarina of Time. Um, Now, you're going to say, what? Waldo, no. Why? It's full of elves. Listen, what happens at the very beginning of the game? A guy with dark skin kidnaps the blonde-haired princess, uh, takes her away, and then who saves her? But a light-skinned Link who has blonde hair and blue eyes. He has to go and beat up the desert brown man. Now, Link himself, I'm telling you, you're not going to believe this. Link is a conservative person. But Waldo, no, he's an elf. No, no, no. Listen, Link lives in the woods, hunts with a bow, collects weapons, plays music. He is actually Ted Nugent. He's actually Ted Nugent. See? He holds guns, lives in the woods. Uh, this is Link. I'm sorry, guys. Link is a conservative. Sorry. Horse rupees, yeah, rides horses, you know? So that's so Ocarina of Time is going on the yes, actually a conservative game. Sniper Elite. I don't know what it is. I've never played it. I suspect that it is a hard World War II game where you shoot Nazis. So I'm going to say yes to that one as well. Mortal Kombat actually is, I would say, a conservative game. The men are men and the women are blow up dolls. You know, it's very conservative. Uh, I remember 2 years ago or so, they actually tried to put Ronda Rousey, an actual human being, into the Mortal Kombat game, and then because she was so human, and the women in Mortal Kombat aren't human, it was shocking the difference between them. So they toned down the Mortal Kombat women to be more like human women, and the fans went apeshit, and they changed that back to the other way. So I'm gonna hordes, yes, hordes. Uh, he hoards rupees. Yeah, you're right. KVP, he does. So yeah, I'm marking Mortal Kombat as a yes on the list. Um, then we get to Skyrim. Honestly, Skyrim I'm going to say is neutral. I've got yes, no, neutral, and some maybes with question marks. So I'm going to say Skyrim is neutral. It can go either way. There's not that much story. I mean, honestly, Skyrim is one of them Bethesda games that doesn't have too much story going on. There's two different sides you can pick, but you could pick either one. And I'm not gonna say it is conservative. I'm gonna say it's neutral. Persona 4. We're saving Persona 4 for last because it is the most egregious game on this list. It absolutely is. Uh, After that is RimWorld, which I'm gonna say is neutral as well. You can harvest body parts and you can make your own little commune of hippies if you want to. Uh, I'm gonna say RimWorld is neutral. Morrowind, another uh, Bethesda game, I'm going to say is neutral, unless there's some hidden messages within Morrowind that I don't see. I don't know. Quake, I'm probably going to say that yes, that one's uh, conservative. I don't know a whole lot of if there's a whole lot of story in Quake, but I suspect it is just aliens invading, shoot them. Silent Hill 3. Now here's a big fat no. No. Silent Hill 3 is not a conservative game. Silent Hill 3 like discusses a female protagonist who has had her body damaged by violence and rejects it and fights against the church. I mean, it's a very obvious pro-abortion kind of a stance. It's a what's that word? Allegory. It's a pro-abortion allegory. Honestly, I cannot even imagine how Silent Hill 3 would be a conservative game. That's insane. Uh, I would listen to anybody say that it is. I would listen to the arguments, but I just can't imagine it. Uh, Parasite Eve, not. I'm going to say no on Parasite Eve as well. Parasite Eve is a uh, New York City lady cop shooting monsters that, and it's okay. How could it be conservative? I don't know how it could be. There's not a. It's mostly fighting against science, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe they see a lady cop shooting. Maybe they see a cop shooting science run amok and assume that it's conservative. Maybe that's what it is. They see a cop shooting biology, a biologist's lab experiment gone wild. Maybe that's what they see. I'm gonna move that one to neutral. The end boss is literally an aborted fetus, and you have to kill it, and you have to abort it. You're right. You abort that thing, but it's a cop doing it, so that progress and evolution doesn't happen. Maybe it is. I don't know. That one's a hard one. That one's all over the road. 007, I'm gonna say yeah, that kind of is. That doesn't surprise me. Um, James Bond has always been a masculine kind of guy who gets the girl and shoots the bad guys. I mean, Perfect Dark. I'm gonna mark no on that one. Perfect Dark. Who's the bad guy in Perfect Dark? The corporations, the capitalists, and Joanna Dark or whatever her name is fights to stop them from owning the planet. She's fighting the evil corporations. I don't remember much else of the story from that. Uh, Battlefield, yep, I'm going to say that's a yes. Dino Crisis, same as Perfect Dark, if I remember correctly. Dino Crisis, the dinos got invented by an evil corporation, you know? Um, so I'm going to mark no on that one. I mean, you fight against the corporate attack dogs that are dinosaurs. Fallout 3. No, no, no. Fallout 3. Listen, there's not a whole lot of story in Fallout 3. But what story exists is right wing ideology caused the nuclear attack. Right wing politics and economics caused the countries to go to war and nuke each other. That leads to the end of the world. And at the end of the world, your main character tries to get all the people free, clean drinking water. Sounds pretty socialist to me, if you ask me. That's socialism. if, if Fallout 3 were a conservative game, it would have been the weak-willed liberals that caused the nuclear uh, fallout, the nuclear war. Joe Biden and Hunter Biden would have caused it himself, and then the main character would get the clean drinking water and sell it for a profit. That's not what's happening. You 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 try to give the people free, clean drinking water so that they can live better lives in Fallout 3. So I'm going to mark that as a no. Counter Strike, I'm going to say neutral. Is there any story to Counter Strike? I don't think there is. There's nothing there. I mean, yeah, there are 9-year-olds on voice chat screaming the N word, which is pretty conservative, but I don't think there's any story wise stuff. And the people doing the things, uh, people and their choices while in voice chat doesn't make it a conservative game. I think you're right. The only thing conservatives know about that game is the guns in the 50s and 60s music. You're right. From Fallout 3. Uh, and I think that's what happens a lot of times. It's just guns means conservative. Uh, Arma, I'm gonna say is also neutral. I don't know anything about it. I don't know. I think it's just countries at war, right? I don't think so. Squad, never heard of. Don't know what it is, but it's a war game, so it probably is. Ready or Not, another war game. I don't know anything about it, but it probably is. Company of Heroes. Oh God, yeah, that definitely is because that's clearly a World War II Band of Brothers ripoff, and that's very conservative. Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. I don't know, but probably. Uh, Devil May Cry. Now that's a weird one. How did this get on the list? I don't know about Devil May Cry. He's the son of a demon. I don't know. The story of Devil May Cry is nonsense. Uh, it is a mess of nothingness, and you could. It's just a mishmash of nothing. So I'm gonna call it neutral because it is so nonsensical. I dare you to tell me the plot of any Devil May Cry game other than kill the devils, kill the bad guys. I mean, there's a whole bunch of story. I watched a whole bunch of cutscenes. I have no idea what happened. I've played 3 or 4 of the damn things, and I can't tell you one damn story point. Fire Emblem. I don't know. The one of the I know one of the Fire Emblem routes. The church is the bad guy, and you have to fight against them. But I don't know about the other two. I only did the one with the red lady, not the other two. Um, I don't know enough about that one, and it's a pretty big game. It has a complicated uh, story structures and stuff like that. So I don't know about Fire Emblem. Oh, Mega Man Zero. Mega Man Zero. All the humans are dead in Mega Man Zero because I remember I played all 3 of the Mega Man Zero games. All the humans are dead, and you're just talking about robots fighting for their lives against other robots. And I'm gonna mark it as neutral because I just don't. I don't ever remember any conservative things happening there. Stalker. I don't know if there's any story involved with Stalker. I think Stalker is just you're in a nuclear war fallout. Shinsinto has a good point about that Fire Emblem. You fight bigger bads until you punch out God. Yeah, so not very conservative there. Let's see. Stalker. Stalker is post Fallout, so it's like I don't think it is. I think it's just guns and nuclear waste. It's not very conservative. We'll mark that as neutral. Bioshock. Bioshock is not a conservative game. It's absolutely not. Bioshock is a critique, an insult to Ayn Rand. Bioshock, the game, is an insult to Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand, listen, I know you're dead. I think you're dead. This game insults you, and it insults your ideology. If you think Bioshock is pro-Randian, you don't know how to watch videos, and you don't know how to play games, and you don't know how to do media critique. You don't comprehend it. You have no idea. You saw the guns, you saw the city, you thought it was cool. The end. You saw the city underwater and said, "Oh man, that's so awesome." And then you heard Andrew Ryan talk, and you said, "Man, this guy's super genius." And then you saw the Big Daddy and said, "Cool robot." And then you didn't think about it after that. Absolutely correct, Shinsinto. Bioshock is about fighting corrupted capitalism. It absolutely is. After that, we have Halo 2. Halo 2, I would probably say yes, is. Sorry, headphones died again. I would say yes, Halo 2 probably is a conservative game. Aliens invading, shoot them. That I know there's a far more complicated thing, but you're a military member shooting aliens. That's conservative. Battlefield 3 probably is as well. I don't know the details. Call of Duty is as well. I would say Dawn of War. What is that? That's a Warhammer game, so it could go either way. It could be made by the half of the Warhammer team that is fascist, or the half that pretends to be fascist to make fun of it. So that could go either way, but I don't know. Ninja Gaiden. I can't even imagine why that would be. I have no idea. That's just a big fat question mark. I have no idea what about Ninja Gaiden 2 makes it a conservative game. I do not know. I can't even comprehend the idea. Maybe there's a story in there about saving the women because they're incapable. I don't have any idea. Metro Last Light. I've seen a lot of Metro, and it's definitely anti-nuclear war, but it's like pro-family and sticking together and tribalism. So I could definitely see how a conservative would see that. I want to mark that one as neutral. Uh, Space Marine, again, it can go either way. If it were made by the one half of uh, Games Workshop or whatever the hell their name is, it would be, hey, aren't we cool? Look at all this fascism. Aren't we awesome? And then if it's made by the other one, it says, hey, look at all this fascism. Wink. Don't they think it's cool? Wink. So hard to tell. Killzone 2, I'm probably going to mark as a yes. Invasion, kill the other team. Yeah, it's a marine in a suit, and that's the most important part. Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball? No, not conservative at all. Just no. Well, no. It's just not. There's nothing conservative about all the blow up dolls running around playing volleyball and riding on jet skis and buying things. And maybe I, I can't imagine it. Maybe it's maybe it's because it's not played by any women. Only incels play it, and that makes them think, and then it appeals to the incels. And then because only incels play it and only incels like it and incels talk about it a lot, they assume that it's a conservative game. I don't know. I don't know what to think of that one. God of War? I don't know about God of War. Um, God of War. It definitely has kill your father, make a better world, kill the gods, but like God of War has a very strong anti-tradition bent to it, doesn't it? Like The gods of Olympus are a set hierarchy that you will not fuck with. And Kratos fucks with it because they fuck with him. If he, Kratos, were a conservative type of guy, he would take the things that Zeus does to him and try and get on with his life about it. But he's fighting the patriarchy. So I'm going to mark it as no. Yeah, Shinsuke, he's fighting against his father, who is the patriarch of all patriarchs. It's anti-patriarchy. And he then goes to live off in the woods alone, and he doesn't build a new patriarchy. If Kratos killed all the gods of Olympus and then became the new super god of Olympus, I'd be like, okay, that's somewhat conservative. He's climbing the corporate ladder in that situation, but he's not. And last on the list, except for Persona, is Metal Gear Rising. Metal Gear Rising is the second most egregious thing on this list, I think. It's blatantly, obviously, against the military industrial complex. Who's the guy that makes the Metal Gear games? What was his name? Hideo Kojima. I knew that. So Kojima is blatantly anti-military. Obviously, every single Kojima thing he does, every single thing Kojima does is against the military-industrial complex, is describing the futility of war. He's complaining, yep, Shinsuke, he's complaining against the corporations. He's against the private military corporations. Hideo Kojima is anti-war like nobody else. And he shows you the things that PMCs and war for profit will lead to in Metal Gear Rising. And you're supposed to see that and be like, God, I hope we never get there. But conservatives see that and say, oh, cool robots. We have to get here. I, as a leftist, see Raiden and his fight to protect people against this giant war machine. But he is a war machine, and it just never, 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 never ends, and it will never end if we go down this road. This road is a meat grinder of eternity. And the military industrial complex should not be allowed to be in charge of everything, according to that game. You kill a senator at the end who is just super pro war and all about increasing the technology until everybody's just at war all the time. The forever war, I think they call it. And but very similar to um, that old comic, The Dark Knight. Um, what was the comic? Um, what was the name of it? The one that the guy made, Frank Miller. Yeah. Batman: The Dark Knight. So this was Frank Miller telling us what not to do. This wasn't good. Frank Miller, this isn't good, you guys. Look at this. Look at this. This is not good. This is Frank Miller telling you, don't go down this path. Don't do this. If you go down this path, you will become a sweaty incel and you will never come back. But sweaty incels see this comic as awesome. Frank Miller's trying to tell you to avoid this. Do not go this way. Do not be this thing. Do not be the grungy, forever hard, super badasses. But the people who want to be super badasses see this and say, oh my god, the super badass, and we love it. And that's how you get bad media critique, I think. Similarly to Metal Gear Rising, the leftist sees it as a uh, insult to the military-industrial complex, an insult to the governments who push for forever war, and a cautionary tale of things to be avoided. But then the conservative sees it as that's such a cool robot. Look how awesome Batman is. And so they take the wrong message from it, I think. Uh, that's what the Patriots AI is about. Forever wars to keep everyone in check and keep them in power. Exactly. So he's telling you, don't let this happen. Don't let Batman happen. Don't let uh, Senator Armstrong be in charge. That's what he's telling you with this. I think that's the message he is trying to provide with his art. And what is probably the most egregious one, Persona 4. Persona 4 is the most egregious thing on this list. Now, I'm going to spoil some of the character stuff for Persona 4 just in case. You don't know it, you haven't seen it, you haven't played it. Persona 4 is a good game. It's not the best Persona game, honestly, but it is a good game. Uh, Persona 4 is very much not belonging on this list. It does not need to be here. It should not be here. It is what made me think that this whole list is a joke of some sort. This inclusion right here made me doubt the entire list. Like I've I've marked off, let's see what five say. I marked off 8 of these things that are not conservative. But this one, this ninth one, this last one, Persona 4, makes me think that the entire list is some sort of Borat level performance art. That this guy created this list with like uh, 10 to 15 uh, actual conservative ones, some that are in the middle, some are neutral, and then some egregious. Definitely knows. Definitely no on Metal Gear Rising. Definitely no on Silent Hill 3. Definitely no on Perfect Dark. And sure as hell no on Persona 4. Persona 4 is a JRPG where you go and kill a god. You use the power of friendship. See them right here? These friends? They're going to go kill a god with the power of friendship. Great. That's the overall thing. But here come the spoilers. Your main character is this guy. He's a blank slate. He is nothing. He is not a person. He has no personality. Don't pay attention to him. He's a character insert. You shouldn't pay attention to him. These are the characters. Yosuke. Yosuke is an incel, but not really an incel. He's a high school kid who wants to get laid, but can't because he's a high school boy. High school boys want to get laid, but they can't. Slightly conservative. He's the only one who I could almost see as being kind of conservative because he has a story where he's like, hey, I like girls, but they don't talk to me. They don't like me. What do I do? How do I get them? How do I get better at it? A little bit of a conservative character there. But he's also very plain. I mean, there's nothing special about him. There's nothing noteworthy about his uh, character or his arc. He's got no riz, as the kids say. Shinsento, you were right. He hasn't got the riz, but he wants it and can't get it. Very common thing. Not wholly conservative. I think it's slightly on that side. He's the only conservative one, though. This is Chie. Okay, great. Now, Chie is a tomboy. She's very good at sports. She's very athletic. Not a lesbian. You would think she is. She actually gets upset that people assume that she is, but she isn't. This is a problem for her. She wants to be good at sports. She wants to be cool. She wants to dress the way she wants, but she doesn't. She gets irritated and aggravated when people consider her a lesbian because she's not. Uh, not very. She doesn't want to be a trad wife, you know. So she's not conservative in that situation. This is Yukiko. She has very conservative parents, and she's Chie's best friend. So here's the thing: she has very conservative parents. They want her to take over exactly their uh, hotel, their business, and give it to her. A generations old inn. They want to give that to her. They want to arrange her marriage. They want to control her life and put her in exactly the place that they want her to be, and she rebels against it because she's not conservative. Her conservative parents telling her what to do, and she resists it. The conservative parents try to get her to live up to exactly the way they want her to, and she pushes against it. Not a conservative thing to do. Uh, she wants to be her. She wants to go her own way. She wants to march to the beat of her own drum. She wants to be herself. not what her parents tell her to be. This is anti-conservative, folks. It just is. Also, she's best friends with the rumored lesbian. So why would this girl not want to go through with her uh, arranged marriage? Oh, it's because of this girl right here. But that's not true. And these two get irritated by this fact. Not conservative. This is Kanji. He's a badass. He's the toughest of the tough kids. He will beat you up and be a bad guy. Why is he these things? This is important. When he was young, he had a talent for sewing and creating clothes for dolls. This made other boys mean to him. Because they were mean to him, he then backlashed and became the meanest. He became angry. He became resentful and mean to everybody before they could be mean to him. He is also a gay. So he his sexuality, his choice of hobbies led people to be mean to him, and in response, he was hateful and angry towards the entire world. This made him into a bully. He beats up people. He harms them. He, the story has him confronting these problems and getting over them. Not conservative at all. Not at all conservative because he he was hurt, and in response, he created and became a toxic male. He became toxically masculine to protect himself, which the real him underneath, which was a gay dude who liked to do to make doll clothes and sewing and things like that. Very unfeminine, very feminine things, very unmasculine things. So he is a feminine, unmasculine type person, but he presents this uh, highly toxic male face to keep people from harming him. This is, and he confronts that and says that it recognizes that it's a bad thing. This is not conservative in any way at all. Not conservative at all. They openly acknowledge this. Yeah, yeah, not conservative. This is Rise. So Rise is a Britney Spears level. Maybe I should say, maybe it's because I'm old. She is a gigantic super millionaire teenage idol singer. She is Taylor Swift level famous within the story that exists within this world, and she got famous. She gets to be important. She's in front of the stage, in front of the camera. She's singing, she's dancing. Everybody loves her, but the producers and the agents are always pushing her to take her clothes off, and this upsets her. She does not want to be a stripper, but she feels like one a lot of the times. She wanted to be famous. She wants to sing. She wants to dance. She wants to do all these things for all the people, but they keep pushing her to show more skin, to take her clothes off a little bit more, to be in riskier outfits. She is upset by this. She doesn't like it, and so she leaves. I wouldn't. This isn't conservative either. This is her pushing back against the thing that's going to make her more money. The thing that's going to make her more famous, more money, is to do what her agents are saying. Her agents aren't saying it for no reason. They're saying it so that they can drive those numbers up, so they can capitalize. They can capitalize. See the word there? Capitalize on all this money that she's going to make if she just shows a little more skin. She doesn't want that. She pushes against it. Uh, I don't think that this is a conservative message either. I mean, I know conservatives push not to be slutty, but I think I don't think this is a conservative. I think this is a person who's inwardly thinking about what their image is and how they portray themselves to the world. I can't imagine why they would be on board with that. She has a sexual hang-up, and she's confronting it with her friends. Uh, doesn't seem conservative at all. Teddy, this guy is just a furry. Click here to see his human form. This is a person inside a fursuit. Sorry, guys, not conservative. Just not. He's he's a furry. Uh, he has a bear sona. See? like a fursona. So not conservative there. He's a degenerate who dresses up in fursuit. That is why, and that's all the personal stuff. There's an entire plot story about what's happening in the town and how they defeat it, and then these people using friendship to fight against God. And guess what? I missed one. There it is. This is Naoto. See this person right here? This is a trans man. This person was born female, but goes by he, him pronouns. An androgynous girl. Goes by the title of Detective Prince. This is a trans man. Nothing conservative about this. This is a born female who feels like they should be a male and feels like they should be a man, and so transitions to be so. Not conservative. That's why I'm saying, like, this list has some gigantic gaping holes, and I don't know what about this person screams, "Oh, I'm a conservative." They Conservatives hate trans people, and they would hate this person if they even played this game. But I think conservatives are just bad at media criticism, at media literacy. I think they're incapable of really grasping what the piece of art is trying to tell you. Um, Thomas and I have issues with certain media, and we've argued in the past about what's woke and what isn't. Uh, and my short from last week got 700 views, and it's the most I've ever gotten. But it is very much against conservative thinking. I don't think that conservatives think properly. I don't think they can comprehend media criticism, media literacy. They will often see a thing and scream about it being woke, but everything is woke. Everything is political. Everything is politics. Everything is political. Everywhere. All the things, all the time, everywhere, all the stuff. Everything is political. Choosing what kind of characters you put in your game, whether they be an idol who feels like that she's a stripper or a girl with conservative parents who are telling her what to do. These are political choices that you are making. All art is political, all of it. In all of it. Some of it is more acceptable. Some of it is uh, supporting the status quo. If you made a new TV show about a mom and a dad and their three kids, and they're working hard in America, and they're getting by, but barely, and they have family time, that's a political show. All things are political. Full House from the 90s was a political show. All things are political. Um, Family Matters, Urkel, back on TGIF. Urkel, that's a political show. All art is political. All of it. All of it is political. But because conservatives don't know that what they're doing is political, they think it's just common sense. Like I mentioned last week, conservatives don't know they're being political. When a conservative sees a white family with a mother and a father and three kids working hard, it's political, but they don't know it because that's what they're used to. Things that are common sense to common sense to conservative people aren't political in their minds. It's when you deviate from what they were raised with. It's when you deviate from what they think is correct and the best choice that they call a thing political. So if you have the white couple with two kids working in America, I'm saying it's political. It's not a bad thing. Political doesn't mean bad. Being a political state, everything is political, so everything isn't bad. But if you suggest to the conservative people that if the dad in this TV show were black and the mom were white and they had mixed race kids, that becomes political all of a sudden because all of a sudden you've deviated from the common sense normal, so it's now political. And everything was political. It was political before we race swapped the characters. It was. It was political when it was just white people, white kids working. But now we've got mixed race, mixed kids working. All of a sudden it's political. If you replace one of the characters with a gay person, all of a sudden that's political. It was always political. Uh, Full House was political. Straight white couples are political. That's a political stance. But because they are the majority, those majority of Christian people don't think that, or majority of people don't think that it is political. And I think that's a weird position to live in. It's a weird little bubble that they live in. And once you start pushing against that bubble, and it happens a lot when people go to college, all of a sudden you meet people who you didn't grow up with. All of a sudden you go to college and you meet people who are different from you. You meet people who are not like you and had different upbringings and different life experience, and it shocks the kids who go to college from a conservative little town. And then they come back and their parents scream about college indoctrinating them into liberalism. Oh my God, the my kid went to college and he came back a raging liberal. Well, it's because he explored. He went and met other people that are not exactly like you. So that is the end of my rant for today. Uh, a little bit of a shorter stream today, only an hour and 10 minutes or so, but I have a cold and I'm holding back all my coughs and my sneezes. And I can only hold them back for so much longer. I appreciate you guys who came in. I appreciate anybody who's here. As usual, go to the Discord if you want to leave links or memes. Um, Go to the YouTube page if you want to look at all the videos. What I do is I take the live streams here, I chop them up into videos, and then I put them on the YouTube page, and I remove all the uhs and the ums and the awkward pauses. And yeah, next up is the cough and sneeze stream. It's a very weird topic, but it's got like two fans, and they love to just hear me cough and sneeze all day. I don't know what's wrong with them. Maybe I should start an OnlyFans where I just cough and sneeze all the time. See if I can make some money off of that. My last short got 700 views, and that's like the maximum, just absolute record for me. And I got a bunch of very angry comments afterward and a bunch of dislikes. So I think I'm onto something with that one. Um, so that is it for me today. My name is Waldo, and if you'd like to find me again, I'll be here probably on Monday. I think Monday. Maybe Monday. I don't know. Let me find out how much work I'm working. I have to do extra work on Monday, so I might swap it to Tuesday. But then I have to do a barbecue on Tuesday, and that's gonna be miserable. Uh, and that is it for me today. Thanks for everybody who's watching. Have a good day.